Welcome to Fantasy or Reality, the GPP. Whatever road you took to get here doesn't matter. What matters is you're here. And my hope is that we all can help one another in this journey.
Hello, friends. Welcome back to another Tale from the Roads. It's your friend Stevie D out here. Another beautiful Friday. I'm waiting to get into my last stop of the day. It's actually a very nice Friday out here. Beautiful skies. It's actually pretty warm for a middle of December day. So wherever you are, I hope you are enjoying a wonderful day. Evening / whatever it is for you. So I don't know. There's a few things I guess we could talk about here. First topic that came to my mind that I've been thinking about recently is something that you hear when you're in the rooms of GA, NA, and all these things. It's like one of the things that they say is meeting makers make it. And while that's true, I kind of have a different perspective on that. And don't get me wrong, I find meetings to be imperative for recovery. I think they're a must, a necessary thing for the connection and for the work that gets done in those meetings, the discussions that we have, the way we can work through our thoughts and just what's going on in daily life. But I also don't believe that that's just the only thing that we can do, or that, as long as you go to all these meetings, that you're going to be cured, you're going to be fine. Because from my experience being in NA when I was in my 20s, and being in not necessarily GA, but just recovery type programs for gambling addiction. I guess you could call it GA, you could call it support groups. I just that does that just from my experience, I just haven't seen that is the case. Some of the things that I see and hear are 90 meetings in 90 days, trying to go to as many meetings as possible. Going to a meeting even if you don't feel like it. And while I believe that can be beneficial, especially for someone who's early on or who's really, really struggling, I just think that there's more to it. Because I've seen many people do 90 meetings in 90 days or go to multiple meetings a week and then they relapse. I've also seen people who go to 1 or 2 meetings a month and they've got years. And that's why I just think there's more to it than just meeting makers make it. I mean, just for example, for myself, this is just for me. I'm not saying that this would work for anyone else, but I am over 19 months bet free. I'm 13 plus years clean from drugs and alcohol. And since I started going to meetings for my gambling problem, addiction, whatever you want to call it, at most I've done maybe 3 meetings in a week. And currently I do 1 meeting a week. And I don't even always hold myself to that. I have my Monday night group. We meet at 7:30, and there are times where I can't make that. And I just typically will wait till the next week. But I always still make at least 3 meetings a month. And I do it not because I feel like I need to or I have to. I do it because I want to. I like uh, the group of guys that we have in there, the conversations we have, and these are all people I've never actually met in real life, but I feel like I've developed a great friendship, a great bond with a lot of these guys in this group, and they're an integral part of my recovery and my journey, and I'm really grateful for these guys in this group. So I go because it helps me and I enjoy going. I don't go because I feel like I have to. And I mean, don't get me wrong, meetings are important. We need meetings in recovery. I mean, I think that they're important, but I just don't think that that is the only thing. And I've seen it preached before, and I've seen it used as a barometer for how good your recovery is, or how much you're doing, or how committed you are. And I just don't think that that is the case. So if you can only make one meeting a week, don't beat yourself up. I mean, I haven't been to an in person meeting probably since the first few months of my recovery. I found a better connection with people in my online group. And if you're looking for an online group, uh, feel free to reach out to the email of the show, and you're more than welcome to join my meeting. Or I could point you in the direction of other meetings, because not every group, not every meeting is going to be what works for you. You know, I tried in person GA, that didn't work for me at least. Um, I went to another group for quite a long time, and it's a great group. Um, but I just find that the one I'm in now, currently, that I go to every Monday, is what's most beneficial for me. It helps me the most in my recovery, and yeah, that's what works for me. And you do have to kind of be selfish in your recovery. Do what works for you. Do what works best for you. But like I said, meetings are not the only thing that need to be done, and not the most important thing that need to be done. To me, at least for me, this is just me. I can't, like like another friend of mine says who does a podcast, I'm not a doctor, I am not a therapist, I am not anything. I just can only speak about my experience. But in my experience, I felt like the way that I truly began to recover and I've gotten the most out of was through a one-on-one therapy session. And I didn't want to go at first. I didn't want to do something like that at first. Um, Honestly, I was probably scared to really dig into the reasons behind the way I was, why I made these choices and had these behaviors. But it's been a lifesaver. I've learned more about myself and my behaviors and my actions going to these one-on-one therapy sessions than I have in any other format or really anything in life. And I apply it to my everyday life now, where it's not just about the gambling, it's not just about the addiction, it's just about daily actions and behaviors, and it's changed me and my life for the better. So that's just my experience. I think that one-on-one therapy is the most beneficial, most helpful thing that you can do for yourself to truly recover. But meetings are important. They are integral. If I'm saying that word right, I have no idea. I don't know, but I hope I did. But I mean, don't get me wrong. This is not a topic to discourage anyone from meetings. It's not a topic to say meetings aren't important. They are essential in my eyes. They're super important. But I think too much is placed on, or too much value. No, that's the wrong word. Too much. I don't know. I've just seen it too many times where, like I said before, the quality of your recovery is based on the amount of meetings you go to. And in my experience, like I said, I just don't think that's the case. Um, I've seen plenty of people who've relapsed multiple times that go to multiple meetings a week. I've seen multiple people do the 90 meetings in 90 days that relapsed, and in both fellowships. When I went to in person NA meetings in my 20s and through my different groups. And I just don't want you or, someone in your life to beat themselves up or beat yourself up if you don't go 2, 3, 4, 5 meetings a week. Don't let anyone else tell you that you're not doing enough for your recovery if you're not going to a certain set or a specific amount of meetings. Only you are going to know what works for you. Um, I mean, it's important to have a support system. And if you're struggling in recovery and you're relapsing multiple times, uh, then you may need to reevaluate what you're doing. And maybe you do need to go to more meetings, but you also need to evaluate what you're doing for your recovery. Are you taking it seriously? Are you actually listening in these meetings? Are you taking notes? Are you being honest with the therapists? Do you truly want to change, or are you just trying to put the fires out? I mean, these are all questions you have to ask yourself. But if you're truly in it to change and you're truly in it to recover, meetings are integral, meetings are important, and all these other recovery tools and methods are important. Um, but the main thing is just don't let anyone else tell you what you're doing is wrong. We all recover differently. Some people need to go to multiple GA meetings a week in person. Some people only need one or less a week through Zoom. It's all about what works for you. Everyone's life is different. Some people are retired and they have plenty of time. Some people are like me who work 70 hours a week and also need to balance having a young family and a life. And that's another thing I found is really important, is finding balance and not letting meetings become a substitute addiction, which is what I've also seen in people, and I've been guilty of in the past, especially in my NA days, where it's like, um, you're stopping this negative behavior. You're not using drugs anymore. You're not gambling anymore. Or I wasn't using drugs or I wasn't gambling anymore. But I replaced that with multiple meetings a week, and it wasn't necessarily because I was trying to recover. I mean, I was trying to stop these negative actions and behaviors, but you can, or we can become addicted to meetings. I mean, talk to anyone in any of these fellowships. There are people who know and have seen that it can become its own separate addiction where it's unhealthy, the amount of meetings we go to, and it takes away from other areas of our life. It can negatively affect other areas in our life. I've heard a story told from another person in another fellowship, excuse me, where this person was talking. I think I heard it on a podcast actually. A friend's podcast had another person talking. Whatever, it doesn't matter. So this person that was on this podcast was talking about a friend, another member in a fellowship who had done something like 200 or 250 meetings straight, and was talking about how great their recovery was and how look at how great they were for doing all these meetings straight. And this person asked him, it's like, well, is that healthy for you also? Because for your family members, for your wife, it doesn't matter to them if you're gambling or if you're going to meetings. You're not present. You're not there if every single day you're gone and you're going to a meeting and you're gone for several hours or an hour plus a day and you're not present in your life. So it's easy to replace one addiction with another, even if it's not a you know a negative thing or a negative behavior. It can still have negative impacts on your life. So it's just important to kind of ask yourself these questions on a you know weekly or whatever basis. Am I doing too much? How is it affecting my life today? Is it a net positive or is it a net negative? And if it's negatively impacting you, that doesn't mean to stop your recovery, doesn't mean to stop your meetings, but evaluate where you are, evaluate how you feel, talk to other people in whatever groups and fellowships you're in, and make a decision there. It's not always going to be the same. Like I've talked about before, I went to 2-3 meetings a week and did one-on-one therapy once a week for several months, probably 6 to 8 months. But slowly over time, that's tapered off, and now I do my one-on-one therapy when it's needed. So probably once every 6 to 10 weeks. And like I said before, I do 3 to 4 meetings a month. And I'm long away from putting the fires out. My life has improved drastically. But I'm not going to stop these things that have worked for me and have changed my life and have helped me in many, many ways. And I wouldn't stop them either, no matter how far along you get. But the most important thing is don't let anyone tell you what you're doing is wrong. If you're choosing to change your life and better yourself, then do what's best for you. Listen to others that have been there, listen to others with some time and see what's worked for them. But also kind of talk to multiple people because everybody's done something different, everybody's journey has been different, and do what works best for you. But also have these discussions with others in your group. Don't make these decisions alone. Because a lot of times, like when we were gambling, we were trying to do this all on our own, or we're keeping it to ourselves, or we're lying to ourselves, or lying to others. So it's always good to have open and honest conversations, whether it be with your spouse, or a sponsor if you have one, or just your other members in whatever group it is that you're in. Um, so, it's a loaded question. Do meeting makers make it? And the answer isn't so clear. It's kind of gray. It's yes and no. I, like I said, I've seen it go both ways. Um, but I believe in the essence of the answer, or whatever. Can't find my words here correctly, but you know, essentially, yes. The answer is yes, but it's not the only thing. It's not the most important thing. It's not just go to meetings, do the steps, and you're going to recover, because I did that. I did that in NA, and it didn't work for me. I relapsed multiple times, and even though I eventually stopped using drugs and using alcohol, I still replaced it with another addiction later on in my life with gambling, because I didn't do real work. I didn't do any real work behind it. I just I did the steps because I thought that's what I had to do. I went to meetings because I thought that's what I had to do to stop using drugs. But I just ended up gambling as I got later on in life. And so yeah, oh boy, sitting at a truck rest area and another truck parked next to me. Hope that wasn't too loud. But yeah, so I believe, yes, meetings are important. Meeting makers make it, but it's not always that easy. So have a discussion with your wife, have a discussion with your friends, and have a discussion with your group members, and just constantly reassess yourselves. And I feel like, just like when I'm in my meetings, I ramble on and repeat myself, so I apologize for that. But other than that, it's been fantastic this past year. This is coming to an end of my first full year in the recovery program. I've got 19 months plus into this recovery program, and life is so different. Life is so good now, and I promise you that if you make the choice to jump into recovery, make the choice to better yourself, even though it's painful at first, it's hard at first, you never think it's going to change. It really does. Even though life adjusts and life becomes different, I mean, that's what we do anyway. Life is always adjusting and life is always changing. And I promise you, you just go to these meetings like we were talking about, with whatever comfort level you have, the amount that you feel is good for you. Find other methods like podcasting, Reddit, the one-on-one therapy. Find that right balance for you, and just keep doing it every day, every week. Whatever variables or whatever it is, whatever works for you. Keep adjusting as time goes on, and you can better your life. You can go from being where I was, miserable, thinking my life was over, thinking I was going to lose everything, to where I am today, where my relationship with my wife is better than it's ever been. I have a great relationship with my kids. I have a great relationship with the people in my life, and I'm building new relationships with people in recovery, and I couldn't be happier. And it's got nothing to do with money. It's got nothing to do with winning. It's got nothing to do with any of that. Life is good today because I'm making good decisions. I'm continuing on with my recovery, but I've balanced my life out where It's not just recovery. It's not just what makes me happy. It's not just what makes my wife happy. It's not just what makes my kids happy. It's all those things wrapped into one. And you can get there too. I never thought I could. And here I am today talking about how great my life is. And that's why I'm doing this. I want the person listening to know that it does get better. And as long as we decide to put the work in, as long as you decide to put the work in, you can get there too. As far away as it may seem, as hard as it may seem, it's worth the work. So, anyways, I appreciate you listening. I hope there isn't too much background noise. And thanks for listening. Be good to yourselves and each other.
Here's where to get help. You can call or text 1-800-522-4700. That's the National Council on Problem Gambling. Or you could call 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537. This is where I found the link to my therapist through my local counselor. And then also, we cannot forget our affected others. My wife goes to Gam-Anon every week, and it's been a huge help to her. So anyone in your life who you feel like needs help or you've affected through your gambling, you can go to gamanon.org, GAM-ANON.org. The number is 718-352-1671.